fate decided.
Let's get this party started.
Craven something scary.
Hello, Sydney.
KillJoy Jake.
Don't you swear at me, you little shit! Don't you ever raise your voice at me! I am your mother!
Nightwatch Zone.
What's the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, it was.
Get up!
The collective has spoken. Yo, what's going on, Lethal Collective? Q&A Mondays. We're ready to rock, and Fate's waving at us, which is always beautiful. What's going on, guys?
What up, everybody? It's Q&A Mondays. Throw your questions in there if they're Scream related or not. We'll try to answer them to the best of our ability. What's up, everybody?
That's right. Absolutely. And a blanket hello to everyone. We got so many people here. We got Jen. What's going on, Jen? Good to see you, and thank you for reminding folks about hitting the like button. Thank you. Russell, what's going on, Russell? Good to see you. And we got the spicy general.
Brilliant.
Okay, all right.
Not
I
just
love
the
that.
regular general, the spicy one.
Right.
Nice.
All right, I love it. Good to see you. Good to see you, Val. What's up, Nathan? Good to see you. All right. And Jennifer's in the chat. What's going on, Jennifer? Good to see you. Thank you for joining in with us. Gina's in the chat. What's going on? Good to see you. Darth Gutierrez. All right. And Hank Hill. Wow.
Yeah.
We got the whole crew here. What's going on, guys? Dark Ninja as well.
What's up, everybody?
Nice.
What's up?
And that sounded scary. What's going on, man? Good to see you. All right. So, guys, where we and specialize in the chat too. Welcome to the chat. Good to have you here.
All right.
So, guys, where are we starting off with this?
So, start with Evil Dead Rise. Jake, aren't you? You're seeing it on Thursday, right?
I'm seeing it on Thursday. I can't
so
even.
lucky.
Dude, I'm so excited. Like, man, I've never seen a movie like this early before, and I don't know, I'm losing my mind. Like, I can't wait. So yeah, I should say that I'm gonna be at Horror Hound this whole upcoming weekend. So if you're gonna be in the Cincinnati area, stop on by. I'll be there all 3 days. So come on by, watch Evil Dead Rise early with us. It'll be fun.
Nice.
That is so cool.
What do you guys? Oh, go ahead. What were you saying?
I was just gonna say, so they're playing it early. That's what's going on.
Yeah, so they announced literally like a couple of days ago that, or I think it was actually like literally yesterday that they were gonna do a premiere of Evil Dead Rise for like this Thursday at Horror Hound, like the day before. And the tickets went on sale today at noon. And like me and my buddies were like, all of us who are going, we're like, we need 4 tickets, man. We got to make sure we can secure that. And right when they dropped at noon, we were like, just got all of them as fast as we could. And we're like, okay, we're good.
Wow.
But yeah, dude, I'm so excited. Like, man, that's my favorite horror franchise, like without a doubt. And I'm just so excited to be seeing this one. It's exciting. It's exciting stuff.
I think this is gonna be a really good movie. But like, so like all the it's certified fresh, Rotten Tomatoes 100. Here's my
Still at
problem
100.
though. Here's my problem though, is I feel like every movie lately, no matter how bad it's been, Rotten Tomatoes has made it certified fresh and has gotten 100 in the first rounds. Like I'm really starting to question Rotten Tomatoes in their initial thing. You see later on it kind of balances out. But it just like, I feel like every movie when it gets, and I'm not saying that Evil Dead Rise won't be. I mean, it very well could be. It looks really good. But I'm just like, I don't know. It was just something like I saw that and I was just like, dude, like every movie that has came out have all been like certified fresh, 100% at Rotten
No, but
Tomatoes.
I mean, you make a point. You make a good point though. Like, I never trust the critics score. I always look at the audience score. Like, what does the audience think about it? That's typically what I agree with more times than not. You know.
Yeah, but what do
Agreed.
What do you guys scale for this? Like, what do you think? Do you think that this, like, initial thoughts? Like, do you think based on like what we've seen, what we know, that this will be like the best Evil Dead we've gotten? Or do you think it'll be, somewhere in the middle? Because I don't know. I really like, and I know they're goofy. I know they're ridiculous. I know they're over the top, but I love the original trilogy. Like Army of Darkness 2.
Oh yeah.
I love that. Like, I love the first two, Evil Dead, Evil Dead 2. I love those movies. I know they're goofy. I love the TV show. I was so disappointed when they canceled that show.
Yeah.
I felt like we never really got like a conclusion. And then the remake, I thought was one of the better remakes as far as like horror goes.
Agreed.
But Jake, what do you think? Since you're going to see it first in the night, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Like, where do you think that this will like rank as far as it goes?
Genuinely, I think it's, for me personally, I think it's going to be one of the best horror films of the year. But from the Evil Dead franchise, I feel like I love Army of Darkness. Don't get me wrong, but it's definitely like my last place if I had to rank the whole franchise. I still love it. Like, it is still like all four of the Evil Dead movies so far are masterpieces for totally different reasons, in my opinion. But I think that this one will be on the same level as like the remake. Like, I think like it's going to be very similar to that, while also kind of playing with like the mythos of like what makes Evil Dead. It seems like this is trying to start like a new story. Like, this is going to be the requel essentially of the Evil Dead franchise. So just based off of some of the reviews I've read and like the little things I know about it, that's the route I think they're going to be taking. So I think I'm going to like it just a little less than the remake, but it's still going to be up there. So like, if like, it would probably be like in the middle, maybe towards the bottom of my ranking. I in my opinion, nothing's going to beat 1, 2, or the remake at this point. Like, those are all perfect 10 out of 10 movies in my opinion. Like, Army of Darkness is like the only one that I wouldn't put like at a 10 out of 10. I love all of them so much. I imagine this is going to be like my fourth in all five. That's how I would rank them. I'm still expecting it to be fucking awesome, maybe one of the better horror films of the year, but I don't see it topping 1, 2, or the remake. Like, those are perfect movies in my mind.
That's interesting, man. I mean, I really love the franchise as well. I also would agree. I'd probably would put Army in last place, although, when I was a kid, I loved the hell out of that movie. You know what I mean?
Right.
It really appealed to me in a certain way. But, 1 is just so gritty, and then of course 2 is more refined, and you kind of really, Ash really comes into his own, and a lot of the elements that Bruce was able to pull on that. And of course the remake is fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm really excited for Evil Dead Rise. I think it's going to be fantastic. But it might get into that top 3 for me. It might.
Ooh, okay. Hell yeah, man.
Hot take, I've kind of gone back and forth on 1 and 2, especially over the last like 2 years, as far as which one I like better. You know what I'm saying? For the longest time, it was 1, and then for a while, maybe when I was like in my teens, it was 2. So I've kind of gone back and forth. But if this movie can be as amazing as I'm hoping, and as a lot of stuff we've heard, it might get into that top 3. I don't know. Like you said, the remake is fantastic. I absolutely love the remake. It's so crazy to say that, but that remake, it is so damn good.
That's how you make a horror movie, It's just it's so damn perfect.
It really is. It really is. And Bruce Campbell is saying that, don't expect a lot of laughs, from Evil Dead Rise. So, and I know there are a lot of fans on both sides of the field. There are times when, I do kind of lean a little bit more into the comedic side of things, and I just enjoy it like that. But usually, more often than not, I lean more into the horror side of it, the more intense side of it. And it sounds as though that's what Evil Dead Rise is going to do. So at least right now, the horror fan I am right now, I think I'm going to really enjoy it. So yeah, I'm excited, man.
Yeah, I think Rise will be more modern, like a more modern version. Like, I think number 2, because I love the first 2 movies. Like, they're just fun. There's, even to this day, like, they still stand the test of time. But like number 2 is like better structured. That makes sense. Like number 1 is a little all over the place at times. Like, you're over here, and then you're over here, and then it's like, oh, you're here, and then it's like it kind of teeters the line between like a spoof comedy to like a like actual like horror movie. Where number 2 is kind of like a little more serious, a little more well structured, I think. But I mean, I don't know how you watch those movies and you don't just enjoy them. They're just a lot of fun. So, but yeah, I thought the 2013 remake
Yeah.
I thought that one. Yeah, I thought that one was more. That was more of like serious, darker. So I see this kind of being that way, kind of like like what they're doing with Scream, turning it into more like like the original Scream is kind of Ghostface, kind of goofy, clumsy, lackadaisical.
Right.
That's why like Scary Movie. We were talking about Scary Movie backstage. That's why Scary Movie is so hilarious because it's all so true. Like the killers, like all of that. So it's just like it's great. Like where now you're kind of getting like a more serious, more stealthy, more darker Ghostface. Like it's kind of how I think that they're gonna go with these Evil Dead movies. But I'm all for it. I am. I do. I want like good Evil Dead movies. Although I do like the TV show, and the TV show was more of the goofy side at times. It was darker. It was like compared to the first two movies, but it did, especially Bruce Campbell. He's just great in that role. He's just so he's just like perfect in that role. But anyway,
yeah, he is, man. He's absolutely just that's his role. That is his role, man. It's so funny. Real quick too, Dark Ninja was saying, I missed your live streams very often because it's always pretty late in Germany when you do them. Glad to be here today. It's always fun. Oh, well, thank you so much.
Glad you're here today. Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate that. Absolutely. And we also have a super chat coming in, $10 super chat from Denisha. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Oh my gosh. She's saying, hey, Night and Fate and Jake, I hope you're having a good day today. I enjoyed your John Wick video yesterday. It was good. You and Killian did Coriander wrong yesterday. It was a fun time. Yeah, we had a bunch of laughs, man. Thank you so much, Denisha. You're all right. Seriously, we appreciate you so much.
Thanks, Denisha. I know it's not horror, but I can't be the only one who's so fucking pumped for John Wick. I can't.
Thank you.
There's no way. Yeah.
Thank you. Like I'm literally swimming in an ocean here because I absolutely love that franchise so much, and especially because it has such great action and some martial arts stuff. So it's like it's tailor made for me, and but I know that that's something that's a little bit kind of outside of the box for me to talk about. But yeah, we started talking about the Wick movie, so I can't wait to see it on Friday, man. It's gonna be awesome.
Because I don't think we had a live stream since then, but R.I.P. Lance Reddick, man.
Yeah, man, Lance Reddick. Yeah, I it's so shocking because when we did our recording for our discussion on Wick, I had just found out about Lance Reddick, and I was like, oh my! It was such a weird coincidence that it kind of messed us up a little bit before we started. We were just talking backstage for a while, and I've loved him in so many things like Fringe. The Wire. He was awesome in Fringe, man. For anyone that
he was
that hasn't seen Fringe, and if you're a fan of shows like the X-Files and stuff like that, Fringe was fantastic. It had Joshua Jackson in it, Anna Torv, who played Tess in The Last of Us. Just a great show, man. Just
same people from like Lost, I believe, like Damon Lindelof or whatever, I believe was in charge of that. I think J.J. Abrams too, if I remember correctly. But excellent show, and Lance Reddick was great in that. I mean, he did a bunch of voice work. He's in the John Wick movies. He's such an underrated actor, and it's a shame that now everyone's talking about him after his passing. It's he was a wonderful actor. I've been a huge fan of him for a long time, so it really is a shame.
That's usually how it goes, though. You never really talk about till you're gone. You know what I mean? Once you're gone, everyone's a fan, and it's like, oh man, like, it's usually how it goes. But yeah, no, he was great in everything. Even the Resident Evil show, right? I know a lot of people hated that; it didn't last very long, but he was really good in that. Like he was the one bright spot. Like there were scenes where he was literally carrying that. He was like, "Don't worry, I'm on my back. Don't worry, let's go." But yeah, anyway.
Yeah,
I'm excited for John Wick.
Me too, man. And from what I hear, it's getting really good buzz and so forth. And man, I just can't wait to see it. Some of the set pieces I've heard about, it's gonna be awesome, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude. Oh my god. Those are my all-time favorite action movies. Like I know that's
They're just
probably a
great,
hot
yeah.
take, but they're so good. Like they get better with every movie in my opinion. Another hot
Well, they're
take,
saying they're
probably.
saying John Wick 4 is supposed to be the best one out of all of them. And
I don't
they might
doubt
not
it.
be wrong.
I don't fucking doubt it, dude.
They just keep taking it up over. I mean, Keanu Reeves is just that dude's like just great. Period. Like I am all for like just anything. The Constantine 2 is finally coming out. He finally was able to get that made. He's been trying to get that made for like 20 years now, and like finally that's coming out. I am all for it. I love these like Hollywood gem guys. Like look at Brandon Fraser, right? Like man, the Renaissance. Like I love
the Renaissance.
I love
Renaissance.
Ooh, I love it. I love
love
seeing
that.
stuff like that. It is great. He just won an Oscar, right, for Whale.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he did.
I love it. Keep it going. And he even recently said that he'd be down for another Mummy 4. He said he'd be interested in that. I would love that. I would love it. I didn't really like the third one. I thought the third one was kind of lackluster. I want them to get back to like kind of like the first two roots. If they do that, I am all for that. I'm all for it.
That could use a requel. I'm all about that.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, I agree, man. I was so happy that he won the Oscar, man. That was really you could just tell he was just like right on the edge of total and pure emotion, you know, and what a career he's had, you know. It's and the difficulties, you know what I mean, the obstacles, and yeah, man, I'm happy for him. I really am.
Yeah. I'm have you guys seen The Whale yet? I was gonna ask. I still have yet to watch it.
I watched half of it so far. I started watching it and then like something came up and I had to go take care of it, so I had to like stop it. But yeah, I got to finish it.
Yeah, I gotta watch it too. I just haven't had time, and it seems like a bummer. So I'm like, you know, like when I want to watch something, you know, in the little time I have.
Like, yeah, it's not like if you're looking for a movie that's like upbeat and you know,
this is not it.
This is not it.
Right.
Yeah.
Carrie saying, Jake, you should watch my Whale review. I don't do spoilers.
Heck yeah, Carrie.
I gotta watch that, Carrie. Yeah. Very cool. Very, very cool.
Nice.
Jen said, I find sports scarier than horror.
I take offense to that, Jen.
It's a bunch of people beating each other up. Hell yeah.
Right?
What do we think about Smile 2? Didn't that get announced? They're coming out part 2.
Yes.
Like, are you guys excited for that? I mean, the first one did amazing. I mean, the marketing was really good with that, like with the baseball, like how they had all those people just at the game just smiling and stuff like that. Was cool. That was clever. I'm curious to see how they're gonna go about the sequel though. Like,
well, they got the same
good.
guy. They got the same guy doing it, so that has me happy. I'm like, okay, you know, if they got some, you know, Parker moves on to do some other bigger movie or whatever, and he, you know, some other guy was running the sequel, I'd be like, whatever. But I'm excited that it's literally the same creative doing this one as well. I feel like it's gonna be good. Smile really grew on me first time I saw it. It was kind of like, you know, this is an R-rated PG-13 movie essentially. But I've watched it more and more since, and I don't know, it's gotten better with every watch. It ages really well in my opinion. But what do you guys think?
I love it. It was such a huge and wonderful surprise, and I wasn't planning on seeing it in the theater, which is the craziest thing that, you know, once again proves you just got to have an open mind, because we were going to see we wanted to see Terrifier 2 instead, and it wasn't playing in our area, so we had already gotten the time available. And we were like, okay, what's out? And I was like, oh, well, Smile's out. And it was kind of like, okay, well, let's just go see it. Absolutely enjoyed it. Loved it. And you're right. It does, you know, I've seen it a couple times since, and it really does, like, it gets better with repeat viewings. At least for me, it does.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I enjoyed it. I thought it was well done. I'm curious, like, because do they just, like, continue the story with Kyle Gallner?
That's what I I said that,
You know?
I made a video about it recently, and I was like, that's probably what they should do, but I'm worried they're gonna do like the typical PG-13 sequel route and just like have a brand new set of characters. You know, yeah, and it's just like, oh, here's just the same thing again with new characters, and I don't know.
Right.
I'm worried that's gonna be the case. I hope not, because I think just starting it right where we left off would be fucking
That would be
awesome.
great. Yeah, and you could
Right.
just and now he's trying to figure out how to get this, like how to stop it or whatever. I think that would be pretty cool. You could just easy transition. But I'm not gonna lie, that movie reminded me a lot of Drag Me to Hell.
Yeah,
like that
Yeah.
movie was
Oh, yeah.
almost like a carbon copy.
The Ring,
Story
Drag Me to
wise.
Hell. Yeah.
Yeah, like you got the main girl, and then at the end, like the guy doesn't believe it. Justin Long, he doesn't believe it, and then at the end, it's like, was it real? Was it not? Like, did she really get dragged, or was it just the train type thing? Like, I don't know. I was watching that movie, and I was like watching this, and I was like, I feel like I've watched this movie before. And then the movie ended, and I was like, I feel like I've seen this before. And then I was like, oh, this movie just dragged me to hell. I was like, oh, okay, which isn't a bad thing.
I could have told you that before. Like when I saw the trailer, I knew it was gonna be that. Does that make sense? Like, because I saw it was like, oh, same setup. It's like she's got a certain amount of time to do this, or she's gonna die. It's you've seen that in The Ring, Drag Me to Hell. There's countless movies that have done that same setup.
Right.
But I was like, if they can do this and they can find a way to make it original again, because like I said, I've just seen that movie so many times, I'm here for it. I'll try it out. And I think they do successfully find that. There's a lot of little stylistic choices that feel nice, but there are a lot of little Sam Raimi inspired moments throughout the flick that it's like, I love this, but it's very Drag Me to Hell. It's very much so a Sam Raimi movie at certain points. So that it's like, it's something that maybe they shouldn't have tapped into, as crazy as that sounds, because Sam Raimi moments in horror movies are great. How can I say no to more of those?
That's right.
But it does give me that vibe at certain points, and it should have tried to stand on its own, probably even a little more. Maybe they can find that in the sequel, though.
Yeah, maybe they could. That would be really, really cool. As if in the sequel they can kind of, move into a little bit of a fresher take and kind of give us something that we're not expecting, but still it's a quote unquote a smile movie, if you know what I mean. That would be really, really cool. Like if they could do that, like for me personally, just me individually, it's like, wow, you guys amazed me twice, because I really did think it was just going to be a cheap copy of Drag Me to Hell or The Ring or whatever, and it wasn't a cheap copy. And I think Sosie Bacon was fantastic. Like spoilers for Smile, guys. I'm about to say something about spoilers, but God, man, I want her in the sequel. But yeah.
I wish, man. I wish, but yeah, dude. Like, how can they bring her back now? It's like shit,
right?
I mean, it is a supernatural style film, so I mean, you could figure it out. Maybe,
maybe she beat it, and it's just a false ending,
or maybe like when it consumes you or whatever, like you go to some place and he has to go, and he goes to that place. Kyle Gallner's character goes to that place and saves her or something. I don't know.
Or maybe she's consumed by it, and then she's actually used as like an avatar of sorts. So she has like kind of an evil edge to her, but maybe she's fighting it. So she has moments where, she's very much like the character we saw in the first movie. That would be interesting. I don't know if if you could pull it off as far as story wise, but I just want her in the movie.
Just get her in whatever it takes.
I agree. Whatever happens, as long as she's in it.
I saw
nice.
I saw Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey last night for the first time.
Really?
Yeah. What'd you think?
I loved it. I actually liked it. I mean, the acting's terrible. It has some horrible moments, but it was everything that I figured it would be. I loved it. I did. I enjoyed it. Oh,
yeah. Like it's nothing more than what I expected it to be. I'm like, it's Winnie the Pooh killing people, of course.
I saw that, and I saw Cocaine Bear finally. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet.
Like without spoiling Cocaine Bear, it was some of the CGI was like me and Jake probably could do a better job. But overall, I mean, it was a fun movie. Some of the kills were like, but other than that, but yeah, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, I love that movie. That movie's great. It wasn't like
nice.
Again, it's not like some masterpiece. It's not some like it's not some movie that you're writing novels about, but it's
Right.
it's something. It's just I don't know. It was exactly what I thought it would be, which is good. It's just some cheesy like sea level horror movie that had some moments.
Yeah. It's worth a watch though. Knight, if you haven't seen it yet, I recommend it.
Yeah. Okay, all right. Well, that's good. Okay.
It's fun. It's a fun bear movie.
It's a fun bear movie.
It was a bear night. It was a bear night.
Bear night.
Oh my god. Oh, funny. And real quick too, and hey Ryan, how's it going? Derek was asking, this is a good one. Derek saying, "What's up, everyone? What's up, Derek? What's everyone's hopes and dreams for Scream 7? I hope a Christmas setting in Chicago. Hopefully, Sid returns." Ooh.
Well,
what do you guys think?
Since Jake left, I'll go first. Oh, now he's back. Damn it.
You go first.
I'll still go first. No one cares, Jake. No, but I know all hostile and stuff. No, but no, the Christmas setting would be awesome. Like I would love instead of like because I mean it makes sense to keep it in New York. Right, like keep it in New York. They're all still there for college, unless they all just decide like after this attack, like let's get out of New York, which I don't really see. Chicago, I guess would make sense for Sydney, but in Scream 6, they say, Sydney took Mark and the kids and went somewhere safe. So she's probably not in Chicago anymore. So my guess is that she's somewhere. So I think regardless, if Sydney's going to be back in Scream 7, you're going to have to do something to make sense for her to return. And look, they wanted to bring Mark Kincaid back for Scream 6.
Yeah, they did.
We got those news now. Like that would be cool. Maybe you can bring Kincaid back, bring Sydney back. Kids are with family member or whatever, or with the police. Make sure that they're safe. And Mark and Sydney have to show up to save the day. Like you could do something like that. I really want, if we're gonna do like a Christmas thing, let's do like a cabin in the woods or something. Like, give me all the characters that survived that were just like, hey, we just experienced 2 attacks. It's Christmas break. Let's go have a little fun. Let's go. Like everyone's recovered, everyone's good. Like let's go to the woods. Let's don't take anybody because we can't trust anybody. Just the core 4, type thing, whatever, and just have something like that. And then like they're at this cabin, they're snowed in, whatever. Something like that. I mean, you'd have to like make sense like for Gail to come back, assuming she comes back. You'd have to make sense for all these characters. But there's a lot of talks that Scream 7 might just be its own thing. So if that's the case, who knows if we even get Sydney or get Gail or anybody like that. It might just be the core characters. Like what if there's a ghost face that's like, they got the cabin next to them and they're just killing all these people that are in this like, this little area or whatever. And you got like 15 characters. It's isolated. It's they're snowed in. They can't really go anywhere, and like you can just kind of get back to like the slasher roots. I think that would be kind of fun. Just have them be there, especially if you're doing Christmas, because then you could have like the snow, the woods. You could have some epic chasing through the woods and the snow. Like that'd be really cool. They're hiding behind trees and like in these ditches and stuff. Ghostface just walking around. Like that would be cool. Like or go like I Know What You Did Last Summer too, where like they win a trip. And then have Jack Black play a Jamaican guy.
No, let's not
Jack
do that.
Black. Let's never do that again. I'll never forget when I first saw that. I was like, "What?"
Yeah, right. That's like,
but I love Jack Black though.
Yeah. I love in Scary Movie when he's like, "Yeah, and what's with that fat Jamaican dude? Oh, I wanted to kill that motherfucker." yeah. I love it.
I'm down for the vacation thing though, because it might be like, looking at Screams 1, 2, and 3, it's like, here's all these characters at different points in their life and they're at different settings. It makes sense. But if we did something where it's like they're still in college, they're still living in New York, that could almost be a statement in and of itself. It's like they're done with running. They're not running away. They're not letting the fear of Ghostface get to them. But then, they're like, maybe it starts off in New York or something. Like they're all there and they're getting ready for a trip somewhere together. And it's Christmas time. It's Christmas break. They go to some cabin and they get snowed in. I really love that. I actually think that's pretty cool. You could change it up once again. Formula's a little different. Same setting for most of the movie. I'm open to that. You could actually do that for cheaper and use a lot more of the budget for like kills, bigger cast of characters, or get some A-listers in there or something. I'm down for that. That's a sacrifice I'm willing to make for the seventh entry. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you do something where it kind of picks up after 6, I think that could be pretty interesting. I would love to see a Scream with the snow, and I almost don't care where it's at. I just want to see Ghostface killing some people when there's freaking snow on the ground, or like a snowstorm or something. I think that would just look so cool. I know it'd probably be hell to make it look right, because you have to do so much with the lighting and all that. And by the way, one thing about Scream 6, I think it's, as far as the way the Ghostface looked, I think it was one of the best, looks that he's had in all these movies. You know what I mean? Just the lighting, the camera work, the actual shots and stuff of Ghostface, I think was just fantastic. But I'd love to see Scream in the snow. I really, really would. And I don't even care where it takes place. It could be New York. It could be Chicago. It could be Australia. I don't care, man. No, it won't be Australia, but you know what I'm saying.
Australia Scream.
Right.
Ghostface is a kangaroo. I knew it.
Right. Oh my God. The PR is in the chat. What's up? Or THPR, saying Scream 7 opening, Billy and Stu kill Maureen Prescott, but Christina shows up as a third killer. Oh man. Oh no.
If they want to keep things consistent with 1, 2, and 3, you gotta reveal something that goes back to the original or whatever. I don't know how I feel. I don't like that. Would just be so like, holy shit, like what? How was she not in the first movie then? That I would have to be like, okay, we're already saying that Billy slept around in that time period. He really got around. It's like, man.
Right.
But something like that would be insane. It's hard. It's almost hard to be against that, because it's like, that actually would be kind of cool. But I don't know.
Right. That would be very interesting. Go ahead, Faye.
I mean, you could make it make sense. Like she was his secret lover. Because isn't that what they wanted to do? That was part of like what they wanted to do in Scream 3. They wanted Angelina to be. She went to school with Sydney. That's how she knew Sydney, and like. There was all the tie-in and connections when she was originally supposed to be the second killer. So they've always kind of wanted to do that. Scream 5 opened the door for Christina, and she was the side piece to Billy and all that stuff. So very likely, would she have known? But she had the boyfriend at the time. And my whole thing is like, why would she want to kill her kids? Like maybe Sam. Like I guess that makes sense. But why would she want to kill Tara? Although Scream 6 told us, or Sam said, that the mom cut off Sam, and so Tara cut off the mom because she cut off Sam. So maybe she just wants to get rid of Sam to do that. I don't know. I think it'd be a little bit of a stretch, if I'm being honest. Like I wouldn't.
But not as much of a stretch as Jill in 4.
You still could make that like that still made sense. She was upset.
Well,
like,
yeah,
it wasn't like. It wasn't some like full circle tie-in, and it's like this character that like nobody knew about, nobody ever saw. It was like, she fit the timeline, she made sense. She was just obsessed and scared and
crazy.
And crazy. She just wanted to be Sydney. So I don't know. I just I just think if they're gonna do like another like family member tie-in, like you might as well go with Leslie Mocker. Because at least she's already set up, established. We don't know what she looks like. You could have that full circle tie in. Like maybe she wasn't involved, but she knew what Stu was doing. Like she was the one that he confided in and told him and all that stuff. And maybe she was crazy like he was, and you just have like this full circle moment. Like that's something I could do. I hope that they do. I hope that they just like, here's a killer, here's a story, here's whatever. But just based on the track record, something's going to end up happening. It's going to go back to the original. But do they go back to Scream 5? Like, do they go back to their original? Like, Scream 3 went back to Scream 1. Do they go back to Scream 5? Or do they go all the way back to Scream 1? Or do they go back to Scream 3? Maybe have a tie-in with Roman. there's a lot of things that they could do.
I'm down for the tie-in to 5 again. I mean, I know we just did that, but it's like if we do, like, we find another way to make it all connect. You know, I'm like, okay, I'm okay with that as long as it's original. You know what I mean? It's like Scream 6 is just barely original. You know, just barely there in my opinion. So I would like them to take even another step into that and just not do something at all like what Scream 3 does. Just not even in the slightest. Just a whole new twist, something we haven't seen before.
Just make Josh Segura the killer. Have him involved. That dude was super sus the entire film.
He
that
was
way
was
too
so
understanding.
willing to just sit out and not even help. Like, hey, you know what? You're right. Go ahead, do your thing. Like, I talked about this on Friday's stream. Night, you weren't there, but I was saying, like, what if he was connected to Jason and Greg? You know, like, and that's why, because they wanted to kill Sam and Tara, right? So they wanted to kill Sam and Tara. They were working their way up for that. Josh Segura's character, Danny, he was sleeping with Sam. So maybe he was the one that was trying to get involved. Maybe he was the hired help, you know, to kind of be the guy, like how in Scream 2, you know, you had Mickey. He was supposed to be like the Mickey-esque character. But then some other Ghostface came in and, you know, shit in the cereal and killed Jason and Greg. Jason and Greg are dead. And now, you know, Danny's like, oh, shit, what just happened? Because he would have known about that. So now he's got to play it off all cool, all clean. You know, he's got the alibi. He's kicked off. And now it's like, okay, well, whatever. Maybe he's obsessed too. Maybe he has some connection, whatever. Like, I think like you could have some tie-in with him. And he just was really sus that whole movie.
He really was, man. Oh
he
my
survived
God.
and got, like, he could be the killer that got away. You know,
I think that would be so cool because it's something different, and it also, for Radio Silence, it ties into what they've already done, so they can kind of stay in their lane with their Scream movies. And yeah, that would be really, really cool. Something a little bit different. Or, you know, you revealed that he was part of the faction with Jason and Greg, which was basically like a cult of Ghostface. I mean, like,
kind of.
Just to say that we got a lot of stuff in Scream 6, and we also did get like a cult of Ghostface. But what if he, you know, is a killer in 7? Maybe him and someone else. But what if there's also another group or another killer? In other words, one thing that I was really wondering as this movie started off is, are we going to have like 2 teams of Ghostface killers that kind of aren't working together? You know what I mean? Like, that would be crazy, you know? So I'd like to see that.
Well, they could also do like which is what I was saying on Friday's stream. They could do something like what they wanted to do with Jill in Scream 5, where somebody knows his secret. Maybe somebody knows that he was involved with Greg and Jason.
Right.
Maybe, like Greg and Jason.
Oh, and he
had,
doesn't
like, a
even
journal.
go ghost. Wait, that's actually really cool. Like, he's not even the killer. He was just involved for a while, and he knew about that.
Knows, and
Right.
He was just like, I'm not, you know, I'm leaving that in the past. That's actually really, that's not at all what I would expect from that storyline. I think that actually would be kind of sick.
I literally said this to you on Friday.
You didn't say that. That's fucking.
Yes, I did. I said.
All right. Well, you know what, Fate? You're a fucking genius, and I love you. I'd kiss you on the mouth if I was there.
I said, what if they did something like Jill in Scream 5, like what they were originally planning on doing Scream 5?
My recollection of the conversation, and y'all can go back and fact check this, but I remember talking about what if Danny goes Ghostface in the next one, you know? Because I'm like, that's pretty cool too. But like, then imagine here's our third act, right? Killers have been revealed, and then they say something to the degree of, well, Josh here, or Danny, that's his real name because that's the actor's name, was involved with the first set of Ghostface killers there, Miss Sam. Like, what do you think about that? And then he's like, oh God, it's true. I'm so sorry, you know? And then they have kind of a debacle. It's a 3-way debacle, not just one way. I'm totally down for that. That's so weird, so different.
You could have something, and well, what I did say, because I didn't say like he doesn't suit up. That I didn't say. You're right about that, Jake. But I did say the Jill thing. Like, hey, Jill, like, what if they did something like Jill? But
I'm into
I was saying, like, Danny, like, you could even have it to where Danny suits up to, like, because that's what they wanted to do in Scream 5. They wanted, so Jill was going to be a target by Ghostface, and she was going to kill people to keep her secret safe. You could do the same thing with Danny, where Danny was involved. He got off scot-free because Ghostface killed Greg and Jason and didn't know that Jason was involved, or that Danny was involved. Maybe this Ghostface found like a journal that Jason was keeping of his like first kill and like, you know, building up and, you know, wrote everything down. Ghostface has that didn't get handed over to police, and maybe they're leaving like pages out of that journal at every kill, and like Danny's showing up and sees this like, oh, me and Danny planned to kill Sam on this date, whatever, and now he's got to try to like cover it up. He's trying to keep Sam from knowing they're in a relationship, they're happy, they've been together for a year or whatever. Like I think that's something that they could really do. That would be kind of cool. Like I think you could kind of have Danny be he's a good guy in this movie, but he didn't start out that way,
right?
And now he's like.
But he since has become that. You know what I mean? I think it's the idea that now he is a good guy. Like he has no intentions of killing Sam or Tara, but it's like that was the original plan.
That could be like something that is so like just imaginative for these movies. Like he was involved, he was drinking the Kool-Aid, but since then, he realizes, that it was a stupid idea. That's not who he really is, and so forth and so forth. But again, like you guys are saying, there are people that know his connection to it or whatever. And so that, man, just thinking about that would be so. It's not going to happen though, guys. Let's just be honest. They're not going to go there. They're not going to do that. I wish they would.
If it doesn't happen, we're gonna raise a GoFundMe to raise $30 million, and we're gonna hire everybody. Me and Jake are gonna make our own movie.
I mean, anything's possible. I don't know. I see a lot of people giving some shit to the writers, but I just I look at these last two movies and I just think these are so much fun. These are great additions to this already wonderful franchise. And I can't say that about most of the other requels we have nowadays, and I think they have already surpassed a very low, I mean, it is a low bar, but they've surpassed it by a lot, in my opinion. As far as the other, just comparing requels of every franchise together. So I don't know. I'm impressed with it. I can't wait for 7, whatever it's going to be, and it's all but confirmed at this point. So I'm just awaiting the announcement, and I can't wait to lose my mind over it when it does inevitably happen.
Right. Absolutely. And real quick too, we've got another super chat that came in from Radioactive Cosmic Rays. I love that name. $5 super chat. Thank you so much. We really, really appreciate it. Saying Radio Silence talked about it, but how would you guys feel about us getting a Stab spinoff that does stuff you can't do in a mainline Scream film? Ooh, that's a good question. Wow.
So I've talked about this. I've actually thrown out this idea before, like 2 years ago, where when they were talking about, or well, a year and some change ago, when they were talking about bringing back the franchise, I was saying it would be cool. Like, why don't they just do a Stab? I think we talked about this in one of the Lethal Collective streams, like one of the first collective streams. I think we talked about, like, I brought up the idea of a Stab spin-off. I would love it because you could do all kinds of like you could go over the top with it and it'd be totally okay. Right? Because I mean, even Stab, like in the Scream movies, you hear like, he's got a flamethrower, they got time travel, they got all kinds of stuff. So like you could do some like really creative stories around Ghostface that you can't do in the Scream universe because it would just kind of ruin everything. Yes. So I would be all for it. Like I really would. I would love that. I mean, I still want a normal Scream series, but like if they did like a Scream series and then they did like a Stab like spin-off series where it's just like these crazy antics, like you could even bring everybody back, right? Like you could even have like Stu back. Like people want Stu to, like, you could do all the fan service stuff. You could do everything in the Stab thing. So I would love it.
Yeah, man.
I mean,
I agree.
Like what I'm hearing from this is that they just, it's like they want to do the weirder stuff, and I'm like, just do that in a Scream movie. Like just go for it. Fuck it, man. Like, listen, we did a Scream movie without Sydney, and that's very controversial, obviously. But if you want to do a movie where everybody dies and you don't want to kill your beloved legacy characters, do it. Like I say, go for it, man. Make a movie with a bunch of new characters and just have Ghostface show up and have a motive. I mean, I don't think that's too crazy to suggest. And I don't think we have to call it something else or anything like that. Just make a Scream film that's like a Rogue One or something like that, where it's like a side story that somehow affects something else. That's fine. Like we can do that. I think that would be really cool, actually. Just not to be tethered to something from the past. I feel like that's the biggest weakness of this franchise overall. Every single issue I have with the sequels almost always stems from that. And to just have a clean slate, just brand new characters that you know nothing about, you can do something more mysterious that way. I think with every sequel, I want this franchise to go on forever personally, but with every sequel, it gets a little less mysterious. And it was nice having brand new characters to focus on in 5 and 6, but you're going to run, you can't keep doing that forever, in one continuous story with constant mysteries and all that. It's gonna get stale after a bit. So I'm fine with a hard reset just randomly in the middle. And then if we want to bring Sydney and Gale back for another story, we can keep doing that. Just because we have one film that's its own, like, just its own story, it's its own thing, that doesn't mean we're done with the legacy characters. It's just we wanted to try something new here and there. I'm fine with that personally, but I would love to see Sydney and Gale and even Dewey and Randy come back as well. Like, that would be awesome for another movie too. I love all these ideas. Like, I don't know why we're not doing all these things personally, but that's just me.
Nope.
I think we lost Knight.
Yes. All right.
Oops.
Oh, there he is.
Hey.
No, imagine he's just playing with us. He's just like.
Yeah, I thought you were
No, I'm not.
the whole time. I was like, oh shit.
I've got like a text or something. He's over here just like messing with
No. Let me just say, I agree with that, Jake. I think that they really should do whatever they want. If they want to do something really big and bold, just do it. I don't think that's going to happen, though, to be quite honest with you. I think they're tethered to the past, and that is a big issue with a lot of the sequels. I do think they need to break away from it, but I just don't think that's going to happen. I don't have a lot of faith in it. I really, really don't. So
maybe one day.
It is what it is. Maybe after 7. That would be cool. I'd love to see that.
Like, I just think about how we've, like, every single requel, every franchise continuation at this point is playing off of the nostalgia. Every single one. And if you were just for one of these franchises to break away from that and just like, here's a brand new thing, but it's also in this same franchise, you would stand out. Sure, you wouldn't be playing into the nostalgia and the fan service that all the other requels do, but that would make it stand out big time and people would praise it. Even if it sucked, people would praise it. Like, I could guarantee that if they made something like that, but nobody has the balls to do it.
Right. Yep. Totally agreed.
I'll get off my soapbox. I'm sorry.
No, hey,
that's all right.
I've said repeatedly, I wish Scream 5 never tied themselves to the past. Like, I wish that they didn't, because it's just now they're just in a box, like, now, and it's just like they have to like get themselves out of it. It's just like, and they still can. I just don't think they will,
right?
Because they're having success with like this callback, and I just think you'd have more success and you'd have more opportunity if you just went fresh rather than like always tying it in. I just think you'd probably still have the same success, if not more, because it would be original idea, and you'd probably get more people that are like going to watch it rather than, oh, here's another requel, they're gonna bring back this person. That, like, you could do something where it's like, oh no, this was very different, this was very fresh, and then that just opens up so much more just possibilities down the line. But hey,
agreed.
We ain't the writers, so.
That's right. And we also have Lighting Ghost coming in with the $10 super chat. Thank you so much to the myth, the legend, saying, if you watch the Radio Silence interview with Dead Meat, they said the scene where Danny looks through the window at Ghostface standing over the bed looking at Quinn was Jack Champion in the outfit. I did hear that.
Yeah, I did hear that.
Yeah.
I think that's weird because it makes more sense for Detective Bailey to be the killer in that scene.
It makes zero sense for it to be Jack Champion because one, Detective Bailey says in the dialogue that he was there to switch the bodies and set everything up, and that you'd be surprised what a grieving detective can get away with. And then on top of that, Jack Champion says he was in a classroom with 100 people. It makes zero sense with the story.
And you could look that up. Like, you could figure out if he really was in econ or not.
If there really was 100, and you had Chad and Mindy who both believe that he's the killer, they all suspect him, and you're telling me that he didn't go? Like, I mean, could Jack Champion have been so here's the thing. Do they, like, is Jack Champion, because they said Jack Champion was in the Ghostface costume in that scene.
Right.
Now, just because Jack Champion was in the Ghostface costume of the scene doesn't mean Ethan was the Ghostface. I'm just saying.
I like that. I like that fate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do.
I'm just saying.
He always finds a trapdoor, doesn't he?
Yeah.
No, but on a serious note, like, look, it very well could be the case. Like, maybe they're
Right.
maybe they're right. Maybe it was Jack Champion's character. Maybe Ethan did kill Anika and stuff like that. It just makes no sense with the way that the movie played out, right? Like,
Right.
so so either the writing was wrong or radio silence is wrong. Like one of the two, or the way that they played it out. Because it's
And
just,
it makes more sense. Like if there's 3
does.
killers and you want to have one of them fake die so that they can basically clear Ethan and Detective Bailey, like that's the way to set it up, is have the detective do the killing and swap out the body. And then, okay, Ethan's cleared because he was actually an econ. And now Quinn's on the other side of town and she's the one that was supposed to kill Gil. Like it all makes sense.
Perfect sense.
Yeah.
But now,
like why would they
like,
try to stray from that? I don't know.
But now you have like, now it just gets convoluted. Now it's just like, it doesn't make sense. Now it just adds up. So now you're telling me Chad and Mindy are like, didn't even follow up with the alibi, like, and they and they desperately and they just wholeheartedly believe that he's the killer, right? They just took his word for it and just said, okay, like it doesn't fit the characters, it doesn't fit the story, it doesn't fit the way that they wrote it. It doesn't make any sense for him to be that. Or Jack Champion, because 2 things. 1, they did say it was Jack Champion. So, 2 is who's to say the killer, like who's to say that Detective Bailey wasn't there? Who's to say Jack Champion, his character, wasn't the one that staged Quinn's death, and he staged Quinn's death, helped Quinn get out, while Ghostface, who was Detective Bailey, was the one doing like chasing everybody around, because they had to switch the bodies. They had to get Quinn out of there. Quinn had to escape somehow without anybody noticing her. So you have one Ghostface who's chasing everybody, killing people, Detective Bailey, and then you have Jack Champion who's staging the kill, and he's getting Quinn out. So they didn't say that Jack Champion killed Anika or anybody. They said that he was just the Ghostface that Quinn dealt with. Quinn didn't die. So, I mean, I'm just saying it doesn't make any sense, because then he could have went with Quinn, got out. Quinn went her way. Jack or Ethan ran to his class, his econ class, sat in econ while everything was unfolding, got out of econ, came back, and then and then he had his alibi. Boom. While Detective Bailey was doing the killings. And then that would make sense with the dialogue in which Detective Bailey said, I'm telling you, like, it doesn't make any sense that Jack Champion.
But it does make sense for the detective to be killing. You know what I mean? Like, it's like this all works, but it's like, it's odd that they're like saying things against that, because it's like this totally works. This all works on paper unless you do it that way, which is what they're claiming. I don't know. It's odd to me, but it works for me personally. I'm just like, yeah, it was the detective who did like most of the killing, and that's
exactly that's what makes sense to me as well. It really does.
It doesn't make sense any other way. The way the movie played out, it makes 0 sense any other way.
Unless, Ethan left his class early to go murder everybody, which just, when there's 3 killers, why? Like, why would
what's the point?
Yes, there'd be no point to do that. Right.
Yeah. And I just think it makes more sense. Like, if Ethan was involved, it would make more sense that Ethan was the one that staged the killing while Detective Bailey was the distraction. Because, like, who's to say they all didn't just, why wouldn't they just all run? If there's only one killer, why wouldn't they just all go run into that room and try to take out Ethan? Like, right? But if there's another killer that pops up and is chasing them around, well, then they can't do that. So now Ethan can stage the death. Ethan can throw the blood all over the place. Quinn can help. And then Quinn and Ethan go F off. And then Bailey stages it like he said he did. And then there you go. I just don't think it makes any other sense any other way. Yeah.
Agreed.
But yes, Lighting Ghost, thank you for the $10 though. We appreciate it.
Yeah, man. We really, really do. Thank you. And we also have another super chat coming in. Carter's sending in a $5 super chat. Thank you so much. We really, really appreciate that, man.
Heck yeah.
Saying, hey y'all, hope you're doing well. Aside from Scream, what do you hope to see from Radio Silence after Escape from New York? Oh wow.
That's tough. Probably an original again.
Yeah.
That's
what I was thinking too.
I feel the same way about David Gordon Green. Like, I hope both of these directors, who I think do have a lot of talent, I hope they don't just get caught in the loop of like doing all the requels for everything. You know what I mean? I'm really worried about that. especially for David Gordon Green. I don't know, me personally, I like, if any movie does not need a requel trilogy, it's The Exorcist, and I'm so not pumped. Like I want to get hyped for it, but I'm just not. You know, I like possession movies are so overdone at this point. I haven't seen any, like, I haven't seen much do anything original with it, except for The Cleansing Hour. If you guys have not seen The Cleansing Hour, I highly recommend that movie. Out of all the possession films that have come out in like the last 10 years, that is the only one that I feel like is like, yes, absolutely worth your time. The Conjuring movies, also pretty solid, but The Cleansing Hour, so good if you have not seen that. I want both parties here in question, I hope, do an original, though, is my point.
Yeah, you know, I hope so too, and I think especially for David Gordon Green, I have a feeling that, especially after this whole Exorcist project, I have a feeling that he's gonna kind of get away from that stuff and go to stuff that's more original, because you don't want to get locked into that. You really, really don't. But as far as Radio Silence, I definitely would love to see original stuff. You know, I think they're really, really talented. I really, really do. So that's what I would hope for. You know, something that makes you talk about it, you know, like when Ready or Not came out. Like Ready or Not was like, wow, that was friggin' awesome. And it came out of left field for me anyways, you know, as a viewer. And even to this day, I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed that movie so much. I want something else like that, you know, more movies like that.
Yeah. And I love the continuations and all that, but every time I see an original, I'm like 9 out of 10 times impressed. I'm just like, yes, this was nice. This is really good. Right. And I don't know, some of the like I said, some of the requels just aren't as impressive to me personally. And it's like this is a great idea. There were some great ideas in there, but I wish they had thrown this at an original property instead of just the continuation, you know?
Yep. Totally agree. But thank you for that, Carter. We really appreciate it. We got Polar in the chat saying, the more time I've had to soak it up, the less I like 6. Too many plot holes and plot armor.
Ooh. There's a lot.
Ooh.
That's how I feel about like Screams 2 and 3, you know? Like the more I watch them, the more things I find, the more holes I find personally. But yeah. I still like 6. Yeah. It's a blast. Plot armor, I kind of agree with you, but like, you know, I think it adds to the horror. It makes it more fun that way, personally, for me at least.
Yeah. How about you, Fate?
Oh no, there's a ton of holes and armor and all kinds of stuff going on in Scream 6. But I think it's a fun film. I think it is one of like the better ones. I mean, there's issues in all of them. Like if you go through and you comb all those movies, especially Scream 3, especially Scream 4, you know, Scream 2 has its own too, and plus just the pacing in Scream 2 is like really like 96 is the only one that's really like about as clean cut as it gets. Every single one of them have it, so it's just like for some, it's just, can you look past that stuff? For me personally, I can. Like, you know, from like the critic in me is like, here's this and here's that and this is bad and this is bad and this is bad, and
right,
you know, from like a reviewer standpoint. But from like the fan in me, the one that's like, oh, I love this franchise, like it's not enough to make me go like, oh, this movie's trash. Like, you know, it's just so yeah, the fan in me loves it regardless. The critic in me is like, they need to sew this stuff up, and hopefully they will. I think, and I said this in like, so my biggest problem, like I love Ghostface in this movie, except for he killed nobody. Like nobody's significant. Like he killed nobody. And I said in one of my recent videos, if they took Ghostface from Scream 5 and like that kill count and like that like type of Ghostface and married it with this Scream 6 Ghostface, you'd have the best Ghostface the franchise has ever seen. Like if you just had like this stealthy, no nonsense Ghostface with like the brutality and just almost like animalistic Scream 5 Ghostface, and then up the kill count to like 9 people that Ghostface kills, you'd have the best Ghostface in the franchise, hands down.
Definitely. I mean, this movie has a lot of moments where you're just kind of like, you know, whatever. But I will say, and I have to see it again. I definitely want to see it again. But I will say, just can
you save that comment?
Yeah,
the one you just put up that said that Dermot Mulroney said Anika, because that just proved my point.
Yeah. I will.
So say that. Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. say that.
No, that's
Uh,
okay. No, but I was just saying, but it had so many great elements in the movie that were so enjoyable, at least on that initial watch. So I'm definitely going to see how it pans out afterwards. Kind of like what Jake said. Watching 2 and 3 more, you see more and more things. So that's part of it, and also like you said, Fate. I mean, we pick apart movies as part of what we do. So that's a whole nother animal in a way, because we watch movies in that way, versus just kind of like just chilling out as a fan. So, but yeah, let's see. Yeah, Specialized had said that he switched the
Yeah,
bodies
so
that day after
they
Annika
switched the
died.
bodies when Anika died, which is what I'm saying. So Dermot Mulroney's character is the one that would have killed Anika, would have been there, right? I'm not arguing that Jack Champion was in the room with Quinn. That actually makes sense. That he was the one that staged the death, while Detective Bailey was the one that killed everybody and chased everybody. So that way, because Quinn, they have to get Quinn out of that building. And you're
So-
in an apartment on the 9th floor or whatever it is.
I think the confusion is that we don't see two ghost faces in that scene.
Yes, I
but,
think
like,
that's what.
I
yeah,
think that's what
that's
you're saying, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just because you don't see two Ghostface doesn't mean that they both weren't there. What I'm saying is that, yes, I do believe that Radio Silence said, I mean, they did say it, that Jack Champion was the Ghostface with Quinn. Quinn did not get killed, right? So you have Quinn there, who Ethan is staging the attack, while Bailey, Detective Bailey, is the one that is chasing everybody, breaking through, kills Anika, all that stuff, while Jack Champion, his character, is able to get Quinn out of the building, because they have to get her out of the building. And even then, he didn't say that he switched Anika's body, because that wouldn't make any sense. Like, there's no way that he could swap Quinn's body with Anika when everybody saw Quinn die or believes Quinn's dead, and they all witnessed Anika dead, and Anika fell off of a building. So what, Dermot Mulroney picked up Anika? No, we saw her body on the floor. You saw the thing. So no, like, he switched the body with somebody. So he had to have been there already. He had to have been there long before the police and everybody else got there. That's what I'm saying. The only way that it makes sense, based on what Radio Silence said, which what they said, they didn't say that he was the one that was killing everybody. He didn't say that he killed Quinn and then killed Anika. It just said that he was in the room with Quinn when Danny sees them through the window. That makes perfect sense. Outside of that, you'd have to have Bailey be there to do the killing. So yeah. Anyway,
there's one more question. There's one more question that Jen put out at 6:37 p.m. about the gore. Do you kind of want to talk about that? If you guys want one more question, then we can wrap
Sure.
it up.
Yeah. Let's do one more. I'll have to find that. But yeah, start off with it, Jake.
So Jen says, were you guys satisfied with the amount of gore, or were you let down? And I do want to talk a little bit about that. I was satisfied, because I feel like for a Scream movie, this was the most, just on paper, it was the most gore we've ever gotten, like, without a doubt. The only thing that even comes close is Olivia's death from 4, and that was just some organs and blood sprayed on the wall. And, like, that's awesome, but we got a fridge full of a dead dude who's all cut up, in this movie. We got shotgun blasts. I mean, we didn't really see anything, but it was still really cool. I don't know. Oh, and Anika's death, too. I mean, like, the head hitting the fucking trash can and all that was awesome. So, I mean, for a Scream movie, it was a lot of gore. It was an Evil Dead amount of gore, which, trust me, I would have loved, but it wasn't too much. I think it was just the right amount to get our foot into that, if that makes sense. Like, because I think if they would have just gone balls to the wall, we're doing Evil Dead 2013 here, some people might have gotten turned off to it. This was a nice step into that, I think. We got to take baby steps with Scream, because I think a lot of people are expecting your as close to PG-13 as possible movie from this franchise, but taking baby steps outside of that, I think, is kind of necessary. I get why we haven't just gotten why studio executives might be like, don't go balls to the wall with Scream. I get it, but one day I think we'll finally push it into just crazier territory entirely. But I guess now is not the time.
Now it's not the time, man. I think that I agree with that, Jake. I mean, with what we saw in the movie, there were definitely enough moments where it kind of made you kind of like, ooh, or, kind of cringe a little bit, whether it was, like you said, the head bouncing off of the dumpster, or, getting stabbed in the mouth or through the nose or whatever. So I was okay with it, especially for a Scream film. I was definitely okay with it.
Yeah. I thought the gore was just enough. Like I thought like it wasn't too over the top. Like I thought you had some scenes, you had some memorable scenes, you had some of those like ooh moments, one of those things in general. So I thought they did a good job with like the gore and the kills and stuff. Could they have amped it up a little bit? Sure. But I didn't want it. I didn't want like Terrifier 2 gore. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I don't want it to get so ridiculous and over the top that it's too much and it gets carried away.
Right.
That I don't want. I thought
Yeah.
it was nice. My only knock with everything is, like I said, the kills. Like we had what 14 characters in this movie, and like
Most
of them
get
died,
out alive. Yeah.
and 3 of them
Right.
died outside of Ghostface. Not counting the 3 Ghostface killers, right? You had Anika die. You had the therapist die, right?
Yeah,
and
Stone.
then
Yeah, Dr. Stone.
yeah, Dr. Stone, and then you had Jason die, right?
Mhm.
And then you had 7 people survive. 7. 7 people survived. You had the core 4, you had Gail, you had Kirby, and you had
Danny.
Josh Segura's character, Danny.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, and then the other 3 killers, there's everybody. Literally 3 people died. I don't care about the people in the bodega. I don't care. Like those are just the random kills. That's every Scream movie has that. The cop that's just sitting there, on the floor dead or whatever, like in Scream 5. Like they're not credited. Nobody knows who they are. They have no significance to the movie. They're not characters. That's my only issue. That's like my only like major knock. Like you gotta up the kill count in this movie. Like I saw somebody said, there were 10 kills in this movie. Yes, but there's a difference between 10 just here's some kills for just say we killed people and then actual kills. Like all the Scream movies
Right.
have done a very good job of killing people, not random people that aren't credited, that
Like
are just
actual
background
characters,
characters.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about actual characters. There's a big difference between that. But anyway, that's my only knock.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And I kind of wonder what their thought process was on that, as far as having so many people survive, I'm curious. I know what they said about Gail, like they didn't want to do something that was quote unquote mean, coming off of 5 and what happened with Dewey. But as far as Chad should have died. I keep saying it, but Chad should have died.
So-
I mean,
I heard them talk about the film, and you guys know what I was saying. I mean, I was going into this one expecting Empire Strikes Back. There's going to be a darker ending. We're going to lose some of our core 4 members, possibly even Gale. That was really my predictions going into this. But they talked a little bit about this. I was a little disappointed when I heard them say that they wanted this movie to be a feel-good movie.
Feel good.
But
Yeah, I was gonna say something.
yeah.
I was a little disappointed. I was like, dude, the way you set this up, like not a feel-good movie though. You set it up that
Right.
way, and then at the end you're
It's
like,
opposite.
actually, yeah.
Every
But-
interview was the opposite until this recent interview. All the
Yeah.
interviews that it was going to be that they were going to take the risk, they were willing to risk it all. It was going to be
Right.
over the top. It was going to be all this stuff, and they did none of it. None of it.
But
They didn't
here's
take-
my
Right.
here's my other thing with that. Like I feel like I genuinely feel like Radio Silence is done with Scream, and I don't think they wanted to end it on a sour note like that. Listen, I know nobody wants to hear that. I love what Radio Silence has brought to the table with Scream. I want them to do 7, but I have a feeling the only thing that's going to stay consistent from point A to point B essentially is just the writers. And I don't think they wanted to leave it off on, okay, we're killing everybody and we're going to leave this mess for somebody else. They just got a shit ton of opportunities in the past year or so with all these other movies. They're going to take that. And I get it, but I wish that they would finish their story because I feel like right now it's not finished. It's not quite there yet. So I don't know. I think to me in my head, that's why they made the decision that they did, but I wish they hadn't. I wish they had just gone full on, killed a core 4 member, killed Gale. And I know that's blasphemy. Like, oh God, don't do that. But they should have. It just made more sense with the story overall. I still love 6. It's still my favorite sequel without a doubt. Saying they failed massively is insane to me. I'm sorry, but it's 6 is great. 6 introduces so many interesting ideas that we've never seen before. And even if you hated the third act, there are this movie has opened up the gateway to crazier Scream movies in the future, where it's still Scream, but we're playing with the format.
Right.
We're making it different. We can do a whole movie from the Ghostface's perspective. We can do a movie all over the fucking world if we want to. I think this movie opens up a lot of doorways to get this franchise into a weirder state, and I'm really excited to see what comes next.
Right. No, I agree with that. And one thing I want to say right before we get going, when Jason revealed himself in the beginning, there were gasps in the theater. Like there
People
were
were
people
losing
like,
their
what?
minds.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so again, again, it's definitely not a perfect movie, and definitely plot holes, and Chad should have died, and and there's a lot of other things I could say, but I will say there were multiple moments where I heard people doing things, saying things or gasping or whatever in the audience that I didn't hear in five. You know what I'm saying? So I do
Yeah.
think that they had some really high points in the movie. I really do. So, all right, guys. Well, we're gonna get ready to end it there. That was that was fun.
That was a
For you
good
guys,
time.
yeah, for you guys in live chat, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We really, really appreciate it. Some amazing comments. Thank you for all the super chats as well. Feel free to leave us comments in the comment section. We can continue the discussion with each other and the rest of the community. Lots of stuff to still talk about. Also, if you have not hit the like button, please do, because it will help support the channel, and we would really, 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 really appreciate it. So we will catch you guys later. Take it easy. The collective has spoken. Peace out.
Bye.